Originally, I wasn't going to do this video because it's a response of a response of a response and I lost count of how many freaking responses there's been. But the important thing is that this is the evolution of all of our conversations. All of our conversations come down to this. This is the crux of the issue. So I had to make this video. This may be one of the best socialist versus capitalist videos you've ever seen. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy it.
Anyway, let's take a look at this latest Mr. Dapperton video. Amazing Atheist, the Toxic Ableist.
Or the 1%. A lot of them are socialists and they want a one-world government.
No. That is the dumbest fucking statement I've ever heard anyone make in my entire fucking life.
Okay, so Amazing Atheist strawmans me here by pausing halfway through my sentence. And
This guy's video, if you go watch his original video to me, he literally does that to me throughout that video.
yeah, I interrupted you one time. It was right when that video started, and it was to just insert a joke. That's it. It wasn't to strawman an argument. You strawmanned my argument when you paused me halfway through. That's totally different.
And not even, he'll like stop me mid-word, and his was edited in advance.
It was mid-word, and it was edited in advance. Yes, that's true too. But you were never strawmanned by me doing this.
I'm responding in real time, and it doesn't matter because it's still the stupid, like, there's nothing he says in the rest of that sentence that changes the meaning of the sentence.
My second half of the sentence drastically changes what I'm saying. The point where you paused me made it sound like I was saying all rich people were socialists, when in fact I just said half of them were. Half are capitalists and the other half are socialists. The way you paused it made it sound like I was saying something completely different. Now, that's fine. I don't think you did that on purpose. It was an accident. But I do believe it was something that was worthy bringing up because your audience believed that I said something I didn't, and I wanted to clarify. Attacking the first half of my sentence and not listening to the second half.
Okay.
The second half of the sentence
is what?
There's also a lot of rich people that believe in freedom and capitalism.
100% of rich people are not socialists unless they're just like inherited some wealth and they just happen to be like, but anybody who's like actively making money in the way that like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, those guys, like there's 0% of those are socialists. Not a single one. For them to be socialists, it would literally be against their own interests to a ridiculous extent. Under socialism, they're not going to be the billionaire class anymore.
When I talk about the rich elite who control things, I'm talking about 1%ers because they're the ones who lobby a lot. I'm also talking about the people who control Hollywood. So yes, celebrities are included. And yeah, a lot of them are socialist. Everyone knows Hollywood's heavily socialist. That's the goal, to prove that they're 1%ers. Who's a 1%er that's also socialist? Well, look at Bernie Sanders. He's a 1%er. Are you going to really pretend that he doesn't have influence? He almost became the president of the United States. He has a huge following and huge influence. Like, it's insane the influence Bernie Sanders has. You don't have to be the top 3 richest people in the world to make an influence, TJ. Millionaires that have like, you know, a couple million to 80 million to 100 million, they're rich too. When I originally said my original comment, I was talking about the 1%ers, the 1% of taxpayers. You're sitting there moving the goalposts to people that are beyond rich. And you're right, half of those aren't socialist. A lot of them are Democrat, though, like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is a registered Democrat, and he's one of the richest people in the world. He's certainly not a capitalist like you pretend he is.
They're not going to be the oligarchs.
Except for George Soros, of course, right? Who's a billionaire, who definitely lobbies people and has major influence. You may say that he's not socialist, but he's definitely left-wing and has major pushes towards socialism, more so than any capitalist.
They're not going to be the ones who get to control anything and everything, right? So, like, none of them are that.
I was talking about elite 1%ers. That's what I was talking about. Again, Bernie Sanders is 1%, and he's socialist as hell. But Daps, he only has 3 mansions! The majority of the money that comes from lobbying doesn't come from the richest 5 Americans, but instead it comes from all the 1%ers in general. And a lot of them, believe it or not, TJ, are socialist. And not only do they control a lot of the lobbying that goes on, but they control a lot of Hollywood as well. Most of Hollywood, I would say. And to say that Hollywood doesn't have an influence on people would be ignorant. It's no secret that the Overton window favors socialism over capitalism these days, and it's largely due to Hollywood and the mainstream media favoring it, and the government favoring it, and a lot of rich people who have influence favoring it. It may not exclusively be the richest 5 Americans in the world, but it would be a lot of rich people indeed, a lot of 1%ers.
Not even one, even like George Soros and shit. Like, that's just like socially left kind of stuff. He's not an anti-capitalist. He is a capitalist.
I struggle thinking of Democrats as being capitalist, very capitalist. Because there's been a study that says that a lot of these Democrats would actually vote in a socialist president. Here's the proof of that. So Jeff Bezos and George Soros are both billionaires who are probably going to be pushing for socialism.
This conflation of capitalism and freedom is the dumbest shit ever, by the way. Second dumbest shit ever. The first dumbest shit ever was saying that a bunch of billionaires are socialists.
I used the word rich elite. I never said billionaires. I was talking about the 1%, which are people who have millions of dollars, sometimes tens of millions of dollars. It's not billions. But the majority of the people that have influence, that do a lot of the lobbying and a lot of the influence that you speak of, they're within the 1%. And a lot of them, believe it or not, are socialist. I agree that if you exclude all the fucking 1%ers that are absolutely filthy rich and have millions, 20 million, 80 million dollars, yeah, if you exclude all of them and just narrow it down to the top 3 richest Americans, yes, yeah, they're mostly going to be capitalists. You're right. But that's not what I was saying. I was talking about people that were so rich they could have influence. I wasn't talking about just the top 3 richest Americans. How about this? I'll admit that most billionaires are capitalists. That wasn't even my argument to begin with. So I'll give that to you. If you admit that a lot of millionaires and 1%ers are socialists, whom do a lot of lobbying themselves. And a lot of people in Hollywood who have major influence on the people are socialist. And the Overton window favors socialism. Can you at least admit that? I just can't believe you think you're counterculture and like edgy and like and like pushing these unique ideas out there into the world when you're not. You're pushing the basic bitch mainstream media narrative down people's throats. The government approved message from the mainstream media. You push that down people's throats and act like you're saying something unique and special that no one's ever heard before. But you're not. You just act like another sheep.
The second dumbest thing ever is conflating capitalism with freedom.
I don't think that's a stupid conflation, but agree to disagree.
Capitalism is anti-freedom. Socialism is pro-freedom.
Oof, I definitely disagree with that. How is having an overarching government that's so tyrannical, it could tell you what freedoms you could have, what freedoms you can't, and how much of your own money you could keep?
At least some variants of socialism are pro-freedom. No variants of capitalism are pro-freedom, unless you're just simply talking about the freedom to exploit other people.
See, you think this because you don't know what natural rights are. You literally think without a giant tyrannical government, natural rights wouldn't exist. And people would just kill each other. Like, it would be legal to murder people. But that's natural rights say that you can't murder people, even if there was no government. You have the right to self-defense.
So if there are any rich socialists, it's people who are rich by, like, happenstance. Like, they're the son of somebody. They're son of a capitalist or whatever, and, you know, they're not willing to give up their own personal money, especially, like, you know, but they're fucking, you know, idealistically. It looks like I have to take my first drink.
Well, Bernie Sanders wasn't born rich, and he's a 1%er now, and he's socialist. What about Jim Carrey? He was born in poverty, and he's a 1%er now who's socialist. He even said that we got to say yes to socialism. So don't pretend he's not a socialist. Look at Oprah. Now, she says she hates politics, so to say she's socialist, I don't know. But regardless, she was very poor, and now she's rich. She used to have to wear potato sacks because of lack of clothing. That's a true story. Look it up. Now she's worth billions. But you said these stories are impossible. You said this never has happened in America. Bullshit, TJ. Not every rich person inherited the money. Look at this article by Insider. 21 billionaires who started out poor. I'm not going to go through the list, but yeah, man. What can you possibly say that will prove this wrong? There's nothing you can say. You're simply just wrong, TJ.
Idealistically, though, they're fucking capitalists. They're socialists, but in fact, they're capitalists because that's where their family's money comes from. But this is like a very rare case.
The point I was making was that what makes people evil is not whether they're rich or not, but instead how much authoritarian government they want. But he pauses in the middle of my sentence, and all he hears is me just saying that, yeah, there's some elite people that are socialists. So he took it that all elite people are socialists. So he strawmanned my argument, even though that's not what I was saying. I wasn't saying all elite are socialists.
Well, I am saying that all elite are capitalists. So you don't have to strawman me there. I am saying 100% of them are. Name me one that isn't.
Michael Moore.
Name me even one that isn't.
Bernie Sanders.
Maybe some Hollywood actors.
Okay, one was a director and one was a politician. But I can name celebrities too, bro. Celebrities definitely count. They don't stop being elite and rich just because they're celebrities. It doesn't work that way. They still have major influence. In fact, the fact that they're actors means they have more influence than normal people. Because they're in Hollywood and they create movies that have influence on people. You know more than anyone that celebrities are worshipped like gods. If anyone's going to have an influence on the people, it's going to be celebrities. So I am going to name some, and they're going to count. Jim Carrey, Susan Sarandon, Danny DeVito. And before you say he doesn't count because that's Danny DeVito. His net worth is $80 million. He's definitely one of the elites. He has numerous mansions. Not just that, he's doing commercials for socialism. And my main point was that these socialists have influence. Celebrities doing commercials for socialism, definitely influence. Mark Ruffalo. And there's literally countless others.
But I wouldn't even consider them elites compared to someone like a Jeff Bezos or something.
Who's a registered Democrat, who is a leftist, which is kind of what I was saying, not really a capitalist.
Someone who has like wealth to rival the GDP of nations.
Those aren't the only 1%ers, dude.
I literally say a second later that half of them are fucking capitalists. And then strawmans me.
Bottoms
and
up.
Retarded for like 3 minutes straight. Check it out. He's the most vile, disrespectful person I've ever seen on YouTube. Bar none.
The great.
I'm the most vile, disrespectful person he's ever seen on YouTube. Go back and watch his first video to me again, because it's not this like super polite, respectful video.
I don't think I even insulted you. I referenced a meme that you were thick. It was just a meme. It was just for the jokes. It wasn't mean-spirited. But to be fair, you had titties flopping left and right. I mean, you were shirtless for dramatic effect and, I guess, just to be funny. But I wanted to be funny too, dude. That doesn't mean I was being rude. I certainly didn't make a fucking mean-spirited video. I didn't go into an epic tangent calling you the R word for 5 minutes straight in a mean-spirited way, saying that I'm better than you and that my channel's better than yours, and that I'm better in every conceivable way. I never did anything remotely close to that, like you did. In fact, my video was extremely tame in the insult department. I think I said, if you're dumb, you would believe this, but that was a hypothetical.
It's a fucking very rude video where he calls me fat.
I called you thick, and that could be a compliment depending on context.
And calls me a dumbass.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe I called you a dumbass.
Whatever the fuck else. And so I'm just like returning the favor.
Both my videos I made on you were very tame. I don't typically insult the people I'm replying to. Unless it's for comedic effect, but even then, that's not mean-spirited.
Like, I matched the tone that he had.
I'm sorry, but that's utter bullshit. But believe what you want.
So this idea that, like, I was out there, like, he came to me with this super respectful, just like, hey, I have a difference of opinion.
Dude, I'm one of your fans, or at least I was until that reply video. I was a fan for like 10 years, bro. I wouldn't insult you in a meaningful way. But you certainly did to me. And for that, you lost a major fan. But I still respect you enough not to treat you like dog shit like you treated me.
And then I was just like a total dickbag.
Literally what happened.
Is a fucking just... It completely misconstrues the goddamn situation.
That's a thick-ass boy. Goddamn. Look, All I was doing there was just referencing and remaking a popular, very extremely viral popular meme. It wasn't mean-spirited in any way. And I didn't call you fat, I called you thick, which is like a joking way of saying fat. It's not necessarily an insult.
And also, like, I'm not even fucking, like, have you seen, yeah, like, there's so many people on YouTube who are just, like, cruelty fucking incarnate, okay?
I agree, and I've seen those videos, bro, and none of them were as mean as you were to me. But that's fine, I forgive you, because in this video that we're watching right now of him talking, later he insinuates that it wasn't mean-spirited, it was just him joking. If that's the case, I forgive him. And I don't care anymore, but when he initially made the video, it kind of got to me. Nobody likes being insulted like that, dude.
I'm not that, all right? Like, I might not be a super nice guy, but, like, I'm nowhere near the meanest fucking dude on this fucking site, okay? So I don't know what the fuck that's about.
This guy is a fucking retard. I'm not even saying that in like a hyperbolic, I'm not being politically incorrect, okay? I am literally identifying this person as mentally deficient.
That makes it even worse, because if you truly believe I'm mentally deficient...
I don't. That was what we call hyperbole. It is a rhetorical device wherein one exaggerates things for comedic effect.
See, the only reason I addressed that claim was because you said it wasn't hyperbole. You said it wasn't being hyperbolic.
Not necessarily for comedic effect, but often for comedic effect, which is what I was doing in that particular instance. Like, I think you understand that, right? Like, this guy gets that and he's just pretending he doesn't get it, right? I hope so.
In the most disrespectful way possible, isn't good.
This guy should be in some kind of fucking care facility being fucking spoon-fed applesauce by a fucking social
Is this why I'm
worker or some
ableist?
shit.
I'm probably
And
am
then he should
ableist
scoop
for
it up off
this.
his-
Probably.
So in my view, in order to be ableist, I would have to make the claim like someone who can see is better inherently. A superior being is someone who cannot see. I would never say that. But being able to see is better than being able to not see. The attribute of sight is better than lacking the attribute of sight. But that doesn't make the seeing person better as a person than the non-seeing person. So that's where I would draw the line, personally. All jokes aside, no, I don't want you committed to a mental institution because you disagree with me. But comedically and rhetorically and hyperbolically, yes, I do think that should happen.
Okay, so you weren't being mean-spirited. You were just joking around for entertainment purposes. In that case, I absolutely forgive you.
Have we seen the distinction now?
Yes.
Do we know what's going on? Okay, cool.
3, you just misunderstood me by taking me out of context by responding to literally just a fragment of my sentence.
Yeah.
Don't disagree with
Oh,
TJ
you're.
Kirk on fucking
Oh
YouTube.
my
Is
God,
that
so
promote
out of
that you
context. Oh, the context. The context of my stupid statement is that there was a little bit of nuance to my stupid statement, making it like 1 micron less stupid. How dare you?
I was saying there was a lot of 1%ers that were socialist. And you strawman me into saying that all billionaires are socialist. That's a big difference, dude. It wasn't 1 micron less stupid. It was a hell of a lot less stupid.
And if you don't go to court, men with guns will come and take you away. If you resist, they'll kill you or throw you in a rape cage for a good portion of your life. But it's totally voluntary, right? It's people who want to use government to take your freedom away.
What do you want? What do you want? So wait, yeah, a government has to use force to fucking control people. That's true. But like, what's the alternative?
Instead of having an authoritarian government that controls every aspect of your life using violence, you instead have a bunch of businesses that do everything voluntarily. And if anybody tries to hurt you, like a lone criminal or a group of criminals or the government or a business, and they try to force you to do something you don't want to do using violence, then you could kill them. Hell, any of your neighbors could kill them in protection of you. Or it doesn't even have to be a neighbor. It could be private security.
No government, or a government that just has no ability to enforce its edicts? Okay.
Just please consider a tiny government that uses as little violence as freaking possible and gives you as much freedom as possible. Not the freedom to kill and rape. That's against natural rights and the non-aggression principle. But, you know, you would have the freedom to do drugs. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. The drug war doesn't really stop drugs, does it? All it does is just put innocent people in prison for smoking, like, harmless things like marijuana. And even if they're doing heroin or meth or something, they're going to get it regardless if it's legal or not. Drugs are on every street corner in America when they're illegal. It is clear that the government has failed the drug war. If making drugs illegal doesn't get rid of them, then just make drugs legal. I think it's like 85% of people that are in prison are in there for drug offenses. That's such utter bullshit, dude. That's a victimless crime. See, the problem with making drugs illegal, you're going to create an evil, illegal cartel that uses violence against its citizens and the cops and private security just to operate. So you're creating more violence because the drug war kills more people than drugs itself. It's a pointless war. And I think you admitted in the video that you agree with me on this. That's a good example. Okay? Freedom is good.
Well, then you just have a fucking laissez-faire, anyone can do what they want fucking society.
TJ, do you not know what the natural rights are and what the NAP is, the non-aggression principle? I know you do. I mean, you have to by now. Okay, the non-aggression principle is a concept in which aggression, defined as initiating or threatening any forceful interference with either an individual or their property, all of it is inherently wrong. That includes rape and murder, TJ. The only time when you're allowed to use aggression is in self-defense. It's if someone tries to rape or kill you or put aggression upon you for no reason, to force you to do something outside your will. So please tell me how that's a society with more violence than there is today. Obviously, it's not a society with more violence than it is today. It's a society with less violence than there is today because government can't use violence against you. Corporations, businesses, people still can't use violence against you, but neither can government. It's not a less strict system. It's a more strict system with less violence, not more.
Where instead of the government being the only entity that can do that to you, literally anyone can, and you have no recourse other than, I remember in your video, your solution was, well, everyone can just hire private security. What happens when the rich man hires way more private security than the poor man?
Well, McDonald's has 500 security guards, and my restaurant right next to it only has one. I guess McDonald's wins, right? No, because if McDonald's just starts killing my business with its security guards, it's going to go to war with the entire society. It is up to the entire society to fight anybody that breaks the NAP, including businesses, and government too, and lone individuals. And obviously for this type of society to work, guns are just like at the heart of it all. The society that you dream of doesn't even have guns. You don't have the freedom to have guns in your society. Your proposed society would be a lot less free than mine. And that doesn't mean that my society is going to be so free that everybody just kills each other like every day is the purge. Government doesn't give rights. Rights are natural. You're born with the right to trade. You're born for the right to own property. You're born with the right to exchange your labor for different things. You're born with the right to own guns. You're born with the right not to be aggressed upon by some government that the majority controls. That's such utter bullshit, dude. The majority of people are idiots, and I think you know that.
So basically, you have if you just want a laissez-faire and cap society, you have a society where rich people can do whatever the fuck they want, and no one can stop them. And that's not too far off from what we have now. But like basically, you're just saying like any fucking restraint that they have now, just take it away.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that people should aggress upon you less, not more. But somehow you get more from what I'm saying. You're thinking that I want everybody to rape and murder you. And that's such a straw man, bro. Natural rights are a thing. You should look them up, and you should look up the NAP. It's a very simple concept. The fact that you pretend that you don't know what it is hilarious to me. I know you know what it is, and I think you know how it works. I think you know that a society with less violence is going to be a society with less rape and murder, not more.
Just take it away completely and utterly, and they can just rule your lives like authoritarian despots because they have money.
Corporations and businesses and people all act voluntarily. Okay, the only people that are allowed to use aggression upon you is the government. Government is the only thing that gets a free pass on using aggression when it's not needed. I don't know how you think a bunch of people working voluntarily rule you, but the people who use force and violence against you and get a free pass to do that are the ones that are good guys. I don't get it.
That's the enemy. I mean, what do you think really is the problem?
Your freedom to do what, bitch? What freedom are you worried about the government taking away from you?
Every law passed is a freedom lost. And not to mention they want to take away guns, like 90% of guns.
No, they don't. No, they don't. It's not even fucking feasible to take away your guns, stupid.
You never heard of the assault weapons ban that's being pushed right now? The same very assault weapons ban that's been passed before and it was passed through legally? They can't do that again somehow? They've done it before. What makes you think they can't do it again?
And every law passed takes away freedom, so like, don't rape people. Oh, I've just lost my freedom to rape.
Okay, I think you know what the NAP and natural rights are, TJ. I think you're just playing ignorant here.
Technically true, but like some freedoms ain't worth having. And some freedoms, sometimes the existence of one freedom negates several others. Like I would rather have women have the freedom to walk down the street without fear of rape.
Okay, under the NAP and natural rights, and if there was barely any government or even no government, they would still have the right to walk down the street without being raped. They would still have that right. They could kill the person trying to rape them, and they would win. Their neighbor could kill the person trying to rape them, or a bystander who's seen it, or a security guard, or a police officer. Nobody wants to legalize rape. Rape would still be illegal in a libertarian or ANCAP society. It's called natural rights and the non-aggression principle. These rights cannot be taken from you. Government doesn't grant rights, okay? The government doesn't make rape illegal, okay? The fact that you even exist does.
Or at least knowing that society looks down upon them being raped and will punish those who do it. I'd rather that be the law than like, you're free to rape people. You're free to murder people.
Straw man me some more, Daddy. I love it.
You know? That kind of shit. Like, how do you not see that?
How do you get to that ripe old age that you are today and not heard of the non-aggression principle or natural rights? That's what I want to know. I think you have heard of it. I think you're just playing stupid. And I can't stress that enough, how fucked up that is.
Like, don't you see that what you're advocating for is not freedom? Like, a laissez-faire, no-rules society is just a might-make-right society, where basically you've just traded the government for a series of, like, despotic corporate warlords.
Name one corporate warlord that exists today or has ever existed.
That are going to enforce their will through, like, the utmost brutality possible.
Name one time that's ever fucking happened, TJ.
You guys on the right have been saying this forever, but even the mildest of gun control reforms, like let's ban bump stocks or something like that, even that goes nowhere.
Bump stocks were banned. I had to give mine up before they got banned. I fucking love that thing, and I no longer have it because of the fucking bump fire stock ban. So what do you mean that it never went anywhere? They're illegal.
So this idea that the government's going to take away guns is fucking stupid. And second of all, like, there's not even, like, guns are not even, like, increasingly not even much of a fucking advantage. Guns are antiquated technology at this point. Like, the government has drones, the government has jets, the government has tanks, the government's not far off from having fucking robots that come to your house and kill you.
And yet, the United States government still failed to kill the Taliban. And the Taliban actually won. Using regular firearms. Strange. It's almost like you're full of it, TJ. It's almost like you're full of it.
So, like, this idea that your guns are, like, this, like, last thing preserving freedom or something, pretty fucking silly at this point.
How can you say that when the Taliban literally just won against the United States government? The small Taliban won against the United States government using regular firearms, and that news just came out, and you're saying this as that news is pouring out. Like, what the fuck? How delusional can you be?
Okay?
If the government doesn't let you have the freedom to defend yourself, then what freedoms do you really have?
Wait, so that's your big evidence? The government doesn't let you have the freedom of, like, it's literally enshrined in the fucking Constitution that you're allowed to have guns.
And they're currently trying to ban assault weapons, which they define as semi-auto weapons, which is 90% of guns. How is this confusing?
And no laws have been passed to prohibit you from owning guns.
Dude, there's so many gun laws. It's fucking ridiculous. You just look at this, okay? This is what the ATF enforces. Look at this picture. Let that shit sink in. Read it. Pause it. Read it now. This isn't satire, bro. This is real. In my state, Arizona, if you have certain misdemeanors, not felonies, misdemeanors, that disqualifies you from owning a gun. Misdemeanors, bro. And you say there's no gun laws preventing you from getting firearms? Bullshit.
I go to the fucking gun show, be like, hey, sell me a gun. They will. I go to a fucking store or something, it might take me a few days, but I can fucking have a gun. There's no fucking restrictions whatsoever on you owning a fucking gun. Even if there was, maybe that would be to protect all the people who get shot every fucking year.
The last FBI statistic that I've seen, there was 86 people that were killed by guns every day in America. 86 people. In a population of 360 million, that's not a lot. Oh, by the way, 60% of those, suicides. Cut that out, there's 32 gun homicides. But homicides doesn't necessarily mean murder. And some of that is good guys killing bad guys, like citizens killing bad guys. Not just that, cops killing bad guys. So there's less than 32 gun murders a day in America. In a population of 360 million, not too bad.
But you know what? It's not even feasible to fucking take away the guns. There's too many guns already in circulation.
I agree, but that doesn't mean they're not going to make a stupid law and do something that's impossible. They've done it before. They've done the assault weapons ban before. What makes you think they won't do it again? Also, they've done the drug war, which is another impossible feat that they tried. Just because it's impossible doesn't mean they're not going to try it.
Trying to confiscate them all would be such a fucking massive undertaking that it's basically impossible.
I agree. Doesn't mean they won't try. Make sure you have to give it up just because you're jealous and you didn't work hard enough to earn it.
Shut
the
up.
Problem is,
what are you? You're just jealous of my YouTube success, bitch. You're just jealous that your stupid video about me can't even touch the views of the video that you're fucking responding to, huh?
No, you see, for that comparison to work, I would have to be acting like you, and I would have to want the majority of your money because you're more successful on YouTube.
No. No, you wouldn't. You just have to be envious of my views enough to fucking make a video against me.
No, it seems like you're making this into a dick measuring contest when it's not called for.
A fucking pretty goddamn incoherent one, too.
Than me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have waited till he completed his sentence. He's going to make some very nuanced point in the later part of that sentence, so.
That's how that would work. Oh, TJ Kirk is successful. I'm not. I get to take TJ Kirk's money. That's TJ Kirk logic.
I mean, I know I'm not as... Yeah, that's my logic. So, fucking PewDiePie or whatever, send me your money, bitch. Anyone who's more successful than me owes me.
The point isn't measuring dicks, dude. The point I was making was the fact that you wanted to take the money of everybody that's more successful than you.
Okay, is that what it is? I want to take the money of everyone who's more successful than me? No, I want the people who, these entrepreneurs and shit, these elites, these business people who exploit laborers and fucking hoard money. I think their money would better serve society being put back into society rather than allowing them to just hoard massive amounts of money.
But it's their money. It's their money. Not your money. Their money.
Okay? Like, does that make sense? I feel like if I'm given a choice between, like, hey, billionaires have the freedom to keep more of their money, or everybody has health care. Easy fucking choice for me. But of course, like every fucking ANCAP, like every libertarian douchebag, it's always phrased as like me personally wanting fucking Bill Gates' money or some shit. Like, give me that money, Bill Gates.
Well, you do want to take his money, so there's that.
How do you fucking construct that? Because if you have no government that can use force legitimately, then anybody who uses force against you illegitimately, there can be no reprisal against them unless it's by another person using force illegitimately. It's just...
TJ, self-defense is legitimate violence.
All falls the fuck apart. These libertarians, they hate the government, they hate anyone telling them what to do, but they got no answers.
We got answers. You just ignore them, or you pretend they don't exist.
They got no alternative. They got nothing better.
The government is literally the mafia. I mean, they use violence to force a product onto you that you don't want.
then they take a huge chunk of your income. They're a gangster. They're not good. Getting rid of, or at least shrinking, that parasite would be a good thing.
Except for a pipe dream about just like, if we just get rid of the government, we'd all be free. It's like, that's not how it works, stupid. I mean, I hate to just like constantly have to call you stupid, inane, retarded, imbecilic.
A wise man once said, if somebody attacks your case, it is possible that you have a flawed case. It is possible. Doesn't mean you do, but it's possible. But if somebody attacks you personally, you probably built a strong case. And believe me when I say this, I'm used to being insulted by people like you. It's okay. I forgive you. I'm not mad. I just find it to be, beneath me.
I need to open up a fucking thesaurus so I can fucking have some new adjectives for this shit, because everything that comes out of your mouth is just drivel.
To society, and you believe that government's the only way of doing it, then donate. Opt in, and you'll help pay for those things. But it's not needed. It's not required.
It actually is. Like, there's so many logistical things that occur in this country, like roads and police services and fire services and so on and so forth, military, defense, social welfare, things of that nature, that they can't be like, you should pay if you want, you don't have to if you don't want to.
There's nothing wrong with the idea of making a fire station voluntary or a police station voluntary. And you may say, oh, well, and I've heard you make this argument before, where you say, oh, well, if you don't pay your fire station bill that month, the fire station won't put out your house fire if you have a house fire. But it doesn't work that way. They would just put out your house fire, then they would bill you afterwards. And if you don't do what they say, if you don't pay your bills, then people will voluntarily disassociate from you. There will be organizations set up to shut down your PayPal, or other businesses will just voluntarily disassociate from you. It'll make your life more difficult if you don't pay what you owe. You'll be forced to pay that monthly fee for that fire station bill, which would be arguably really cheap. And you may say, oh, that'll create chaos. Businesses like PayPal disassociating with you? Like, that doesn't happen today. Like, PayPal is already doing that. Like, PayPal is going to be with the ADL, and ADL just condemns Republicans, and they're probably going to be cutting off a lot of Republicans' source of income via PayPal, because they're going to call them extremists when they're not. So PayPal's already doing that shit. So this would actually be a more civil way of cutting people off of PayPal. Instead of just cutting them off for freedom of expression, you instead cut them off for not paying their bills. And that's an alternative to using violence or sending them to prison. Instead, you'll be able to keep all your tax money. And that money could go to donations and help places like fire stations or a voluntary police force.
No, there has to be a fucking edict on that. And if the majority of people don't like it, then they can dismantle it democratically.
Let's just say there's Bob, and Bob's a good man, and there's a group of 5 people, and now they decide to be civilized and have a vote. And they vote to hang Bob. He's outvoted 1-4. So they hang Bob. Now, that's the majority rule. Does that seem fair to you? Because if you ask me, that seems kind of barbaric. Look at this comic that sums it up.
But how do you even own land? How do you even enforce private property rights without some sort of like overarching government institution? If you don't have that, then Coca-Cola can just come along and say, this land is ours. Well, no, it's not. My family's lived here for generations. Well, we have more money, so fuck you. Here's our fucking thugs. Where are your thugs? You can't afford any? Well, then get the fuck out.
Dude, that would make national news. And Coca-Cola would...
National news? Then Coca-Cola buys the newspaper and says, nuh-uh. We didn't do that. We made a fair offer on their land.
TJ, are you seriously suggesting that they would buy every single mainstream media outlet in the world? And not just that, they would buy every YouTuber on YouTube talking about the issue? Are you saying they're going to buy every single one? There's not going to be one voice of reason?
National news. As if news in your world, just like in this one, honestly, belongs to the fucking highest bidder. So, I mean, like, there's not going to be any sort of, like, a body that's above it to be like, oh, this is fake news, or this is,
You can't buy everybody off, TJ. You can't buy the whole world off, no matter how much money you have. Some people just have morals, and they won't take the fucking money.
There's not going to be fact checkers and shit. If there are, then you just fucking create your own fact checkers to go against those fact checkers.
Oh, these are really poor arguments.
Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. You ever notice how many fucking articles there are about, like, actually, billionaires are fucking great, you guys? You ever notice? If you're a fucking massive mega conglomeration that's willing to kill people and steal their land, you're not willing to kill a few journalists who get in the way. You're not willing to buy the newspaper and fucking print whatever the fuck lies you want.
Well, excuse me. I guess I'm just ignorant because I thought there was more than one newspaper. I thought there was more than one mainstream media outlet. And I thought there was more than one YouTuber to buy off.
And by the way, even if it is in the national news, what's anyone going to do? Is it going to cause like a bunch of like freedom fighters to like rise up and fucking challenge the might of Coca-Cola after they just massacred a bunch of people to steal their land?
If Coca-Cola is trying to overthrow the people, then yeah.
People are just going to be like, oh man, that sucks that happened. Oh, you're so laughable. You're so ludicrous, naive, senseless, short-sighted, simple, trivial. You're a dummy, you're a loser, you're rash, you're thick, you're unintelligent, you're brainless, dazed, deficient, dense, dim, doltish, dopey, gullible, half-baked, half-witted, idiotic, imbecilic, inane, meaningless, meandering, nonsensical, thick-headed, unthinking, witless, sluggish, puerile, gormless. You're fucking gormless, motherfucker.
Oh, we're insulting each other. Okay, I guess I'll play along. But notice that my insults are just in the sake of fun. They're not mean-spirited in any way. Let's begin. You're a motherfucking titty flop and have a 1-inch dick, butt-licking, booger-eating green blob, motherfucker.